Welcome back to Bloom and Rage. Let's talk about writing. The 1995 scene that we're about to see is extremely well written. It is written in a way you don't see very much for video games, and I think it's well worth discussing all the details from the largest to the smallest. So let's start with the largest. The point of this scene is to bind the four of us together into a single unit. Right now, Autumn and Nora are a unit. They are the in-group. They have a band, and that's the thing they do. But we and Kat are not part of that in-group.
No, the good stuff is up here. So humble.
The point of this scene is to bring us into that in-group. One way to do that would be to make us band members, but in this case it's much more interesting for us to be playing other roles outside of the band. It allows us to have a much more diverse set of skills and a much more diverse approach to the way we want to do things. It also allows us to do some really powerful motivated stuff, which we'll talk about later. So, a little Writer 101, if you're writing the scene for a reason, that reason is probably the emotional core of the scene, the payoff of the scene. In this case, it's the four of us working together. The scene is being written so the four of us will work together. That is the emotional payoff. You might be tempted to put it near the beginning of the scene because it seems like a whole bunch of fun stuff would happen after we decide to work together. But guess what? That stuff is the next scene. The emotional payoff of this scene is the four of us deciding to work together. So it happens at the end. The rest of the scene is building up to it. So you start with something known, something flat, something easy to engage with. And you can use that as a foundation as you build towards your emotional payoff. This is a very standard approach, and it's the approach used in this scene. Most of the meat of this scene is building up the emotional context. These are four girls that get along very well, and Kat and us, we are outsiders. We're very lonely, and we would love to be in on this little group. So what we're seeing here is an emotional context. We spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes laying down this foundation where you can see how much this means to these girls. They really want in. They really want to be together. They really think they've found something special. So when they do get together, we understand how much that means. It hits really hard. It's not just four random people that we've never met saying they formed a band. It's these girls with this rapport. That's the emotional core. In addition to that, we also have the logical core. We want the emotions to exist so that we can, have it work out, but we also want that logic to drive the final resolution because that makes it matter so much more. Now, when we talk about logic, we're talking about emotional logic. We're not talking about, plot holes or whatever.
Prepare to have your mind blown.
In this case, we have Kat volunteering to write the band a song. And that makes perfect sense because earlier in the scene, Kat has talked a lot about her efforts to try and make music and how she's not very good at actually playing instruments and how she writes poetry instead. This is something she can volunteer to do. It makes absolute 100% emotional sense. So we know how much the context matters to her. She really wants to be in on this band thing. And we also know how she can do that. She writes poetry, she's going to write music.
I want to write a song for you guys.
This is, of course, also mirrored with us. We spend all of our time filming shit, so obviously, music video. This emotional logic allows the scene to hold together and flow. Nothing feels like it's a shock. Nothing feels unexpected. But at the same time, nothing feels boring. Everything is emotional and charged, even though it makes perfect sense. You don't need a twist to make something feel good. You don't need a twist to make something feel emotional and powerful. You can just write it emotional and powerful and good from the start. The only part of this scene I don't like is the stuff from 2022, and I know that's going to be a big shock. I've cut most of it from this, so you probably haven't seen any of it in this video. I feel that it's an effort to split the emotional power of this scene between the actual point of the scene, which is the four girls deciding to work together and coming together as a group, and building up this story about a 40-year-old who got a package and has to answer her phone for 20 minutes. This stuff doesn't split very well. The emotional core of the scene is in 1995. Trying to share that with 2022, I don't think it worked. I really don't like it, and the sourest note is definitely the last note. I feel like Kat does need to make a direct contribution immediately in order to cement her existence, and I feel like volunteering the band name is a good way to do that. But the way that it's dropped, it really feels like it's a combination of title drop and pandering to 2022 instead of being the emotional wrapper. Like, the point of her giving the name should be that it's like a period. It's the thing that ends the scene. It gathers all of the emotional context and all of the resolution into one cute little package. But instead, I just feel like they're saying, oh, we're done with 1995. I hope you enjoyed that. Here's the real point of the game, 2022. I think she might be done answering her phone. Nope, she's not done answering her phone. She's got a couple more phone calls to make. Then we'll be on to 2022. It's like, why did you do that?
Shit. Sorry, I really gotta take this.
Sure. Go ahead.
Be right back.
Well, either way, aside from that little sour note, I really love this scene.
Sorry. Autumn always says I talk too much.